All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our first public hearing of 2025 on January 21st. I will now call this meeting to order. This meeting is being convened in person and by electronic means, and as such, council members may participate in person or electronically. For councillors who are participating online tonight, and we do have the majority of council online, just myself and welcome Councillor Klassen here in the chamber. Please ensure that your video is turned on and let the clerk know if you leave the meeting for the purposes of ensuring that we do have quorum. Council members are reminded that in accordance with section 14.13 of the procedure bylaw, members must enable your video to confirm quorum. If you do lose connection during any portion of the hearing, we will recess the meeting and ensure that your connection is restored. Should you lose connection during the voting process, staff will work to get you back online as quickly as possible while we actually suspend the voting process, and contact information to do that has been circulated to you. For members of the public that are viewing the proceedings via the live stream or the YouTube link, that it will also be posted on X at Van City Clerk. And I'd like to start us off by acknowledging that we are on the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh people, and we thank them tremendously in gratitude for having cared for this land and looking forward to working with them and continuing our partnership as we work to advance our great city together. Should we have an emergency, hopefully not, where we need to evacuate the building, I do want to direct your attention to the exits. There are 2 exits beyond the glass doors and to the left. And should those be obstructed, you can direct your attention to the 4 exits in the chamber. This is a part where I feel like an airline person. A reminder, please use the stairs, don't use the elevator. And if you require accessibility assistance, please remain at your location and our security staff will help guide you to a safe location. Also want to highlight there is a defibrillator located at the end of the hallway outside of the council chamber. And finally, I'd like to take a moment to recognize the immense contributions of our City of Vancouver staff who work hard every day to help make our city a fantastic place to work, live, and play. So with all of that, Clerk, can we have the roll call, please?
Yes, Mayor Sim is on leave of absence for civic business. Councillor Kirby Young is acting mayor in the chair. Councillor Dominato. Councillor Bly.
Present.
Councillor Fry.
Present.
Councillor Montague.
Present.
Councillor Klassen. Councillor Meisner.
Present.
And Councillor Jo.
Present.
The hearing has quorum.
Thanks very much. So kicking us off for the public, you may participate and speak in person, by phone, or of course submitting your written comments to Mayor and Council. Any and all speakers will have 5 minutes to make your comments. Please limit them to the merits of the report that's under consideration and state clearly whether you are in support of or opposed to the recommendations and if you are a resident of Vancouver. Speakers that are representing 4 or more individuals or groups, including themselves, will have 8 minutes to speak. And each individual or group being represented must confirm by introducing yourselves either in person or online. An individual that is represented by another speaker cannot also speak independently. Speakers can follow along on Van City Clerk for updates on the progress of the meeting so you don't miss your turn to speak. Any comments on the agenda items can be submitted in writing through our online Mayor and Council public hearing web feedback forum, and that link is also on X. So any speakers who are pre-registered with presentations, please remember that the public live feed does have a slight delay. To navigate through the slides of your presentation, please say next and the clerk will advance them for you. I also want to note the City of Vancouver's longstanding commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion, including the utmost respect for all genders, and remind Council that when addressing speakers and staff, we will avoid using gendered honorifics and instead refer to the person by first and last name, role, or title. So a reminder for the public hearing tonight that Council's role at this type of hearing is to be a quasi-judicial body, and this means that Council can only consider the merits of the rezoning application or the heritage designation. Council members may ask clarifying questions from the speakers, including the applicant, or request technical advice from staff, but should save debate for after the close of the speakers list. After hearing from speakers, Council has options to either approve the application in principle, refuse the application, or refer the application to staff for further consideration. And lastly, should we not conclude hearing from all speakers tonight, we will recess and reconvene the meeting on January 28th at 3 p.m. Okay, so our first item of business tonight is miscellaneous amendments concerning various CD1 bylaws and Schedule E of the zoning and development bylaw. If anyone believes they have a conflict of interest, now's the time to declare it. Okay, seeing none, I'll now ask the clerk to read the application and the summary of correspondence received.
It's an application by the General Manager of Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability to make miscellaneous amendments to bylaws for the following. CD1 number 369 for 901 to 967 and 940 to 990 Seymour Street. 3D1 number 691 for 500 to 650 West 57th Avenue. CD1 number 876 for 1961 to 1995 East Broadway and 2465 Siemens Drive. CD1 number 305 for 1899 West 1st Avenue and Schedule E of the Zoning and Development Bylaw to improve clarity, update references, correct inadvertent errors or omissions, and or improve the administration of the bylaws. The following correspondence has been received since referral to the public hearing. 4 pieces in opposition, 3 pieces dealing with other aspects of the application.
Great, thank you very much. This is now the first call for speakers. Any speakers who wish to speak to the item, please call toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by the participant code 10611445# before close of the list. And again, that phone number is on X and on the live stream. There will be an opportunity for new speakers and missed speakers to be added at the end of the registered list. And now we have our staff from Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability here to present the application and answer any questions. I will remind Council that there are no speakers registered for this item, and we don't have a presentation unless we have, I should say, correct that, unless we have questions. Okay, going. We don't have a presentation. I'm just asking if there's questions. Okay, no questions? Okay, you can put yourself on the queue and I'll advance you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Councillor Dominato.
Just a very quick question to staff. I noted that there were some amendments with respect to commercial retail use. And I'm curious if what's envisioned in terms of a broader retail commercial use at grade. If you could just comment on that.
Thank you for the question, Councillor. Early CD1s were quite specific in the types of uses that could be allocated. In some cases, it was limited to a hair salon and a grocery store, that sort of thing. A lot of uses that we see today weren't contemplated at that time. So what we do today when we write bylaws is we simplify them. We'll simply state commercial uses, and the types of uses are specified and selected or limited at the building permit stage, because they have to comply with all the permitting requirements. So what we're doing today is we're modernizing these bylaws to allow a wider range of uses, but they still have to meet permitting requirements.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions. I'm happy to move the recommendations.
Yeah, hold that. We're not quite there yet, but just a moment, Councillor Dominato. I do want to note for Council first that the General Manager of Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability is serving as the applicant for the item. And so I will ask at this point in the proceedings if there's any further comments on behalf of the applicant. No, seeing none. Okay, any questions from Council? Nope, seeing none. Now we have the second call for speakers. If there's any speakers for the item who wish to speak, again, the number is toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 10614445# before close of the speakers list. And the phone number again is available on the socials and the live stream. And this is a chance where I'll ask if there's any we don't have registered speakers, but if there are any speakers in the council chamber that wish to come forward, there is an opportunity now. I'm not seeing anyone. And we don't have any speakers that have called in, is that correct? Okay, I'll now make my third and final call for speakers for this item. For the number listed earlier, toll-free 1-833-353-8610, followed by participant code 10614445#. And again, that is available on social. Okay, I'm not seeing anybody, so we'll now take a 5-minute recess to allow any additional speakers to come forward, and we will come back at 6:18 p.m. Okay, everybody, calling us back to order. Seeing that there are no further speakers tonight, the speakers list is now closed, and seeing there are no or few public comments received after 5 o'clock, I'm also closing the receipt of public comments. Any closing comments from the applicant? Nope. Or staff? Neither. Any final questions from council? Nope. Clerk, do we have any additional public comments since we closed them?
No.
Nope. Okay, council will now make its decision on the application. Do we have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor Claassen. Do we have a seconder?
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Joe. Any discussion from council? Okay, clerk, if we can call the vote, please.
Sorry, Chair, can I get a vote assist in favor, please?
Yeah, vote assist in favor for Councillor Fry, please. Okay, that passes with none in opposition and Mayor Sim absent. And that concludes item 1. Thank you, council. Okay, that moves us on to item 2 on the docket tonight, which is the rezoning for 626 West 32nd Avenue. And before we begin, if anybody has a conflict of interest, please indicate that at this time. Okay, seeing none, I'll now ask the clerk to read the application and the summary of correspondence received.
There's an application by Matthew Chun Architect to rezone 626 West 32nd Avenue from residential inclusive district to multiple dwelling district. You permit a townhouse development with a maximum floor space ratio of 1.2. General Manager of Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability recommends approval, subject to conditions set out in the summary and recommendation. No correspondence has been received on this application since referral to the public hearing. This represents all correspondence received up to 5 p.m. today.
Thank you very much. I'll now make my first call for speakers. Any speakers wishing to talk to council on this item, the number to call is 1-833-353-8610. The participant code that you need to enter is 1061445#. Before close of the speakers list, and again, that phone number is available on X and the live stream. And as per usual, there's an opportunity for new speakers or any missed ones to be added at the end of the list. And we now have staff from Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability here to present the application if council would like to see it. Okay, please go ahead.
Good evening, Acting Mayor and Council. My name is Terrence Chang, and I'm the rezoning planner for this townhouse rezoning application. This Cambie Corridor Plan townhouse application is a simplified rezoning to an existing RM8A zone. It is not a custom CD1, so no form of development is required at the rezoning stage. This application aligns with the Cambie Corridor Plan and the Housing Vancouver strategy by contributing to the diversity of Vancouver's housing stock. Townhouse and row house developments provide ground-oriented housing with outdoor space and offer home ownership opportunities. While architectural drawings are not required at the rezoning stage, staff have prepared examples of townhouses and row houses for council's reference. The site is a single detached home comprised of one legal parcel on 32nd Avenue. BC Women's and Children's Hospital are directly west of the site across the street from Heather Street. As a single lot development with secondary rental, tenant protection does not apply. The property is located within the Queen Elizabeth neighborhood of the Cambie Corridor. The proposal is for stacked townhouses or row houses up to 3 stories with a maximum floor space ratio of 1.2, which is permitted under the plan. One piece of correspondence was received through the Shape Your City webpage from the public expressing support for more family-oriented housing and the expedited rezoning process. If approved, the project will provide approximately $405,000 in public benefits through a density bonus zone contribution and development cost levies. In conclusion, this proposal aligns with the Cambie Corridor Plan. Staff recommend approval along with the conditions in Appendix B of the report. Both staff and applicant team are available to answer any questions.
Great, thanks very much. Do we have the applicant team here tonight, and would you like to present on the application? Yes? Great, thank you. You'll take questions, but no presentation? Okay. Are there any questions from council to staff, the applicant team? And a reminder, council, this is the only opportunity you have to ask questions of the applicant. Okay, seeing none, I'll make my second call for speakers. And the number, which should sound familiar by now, is 1-833-353-8610, and the participant code is 1061445#. The number is available on the socials. We will now hear from the public. We have 2 registered speakers tonight, and the first one is Susan McLeod in person. I see you. Do you want to approach the podium? And when you're ready, you have 5 minutes to speak to council.
Hello, it's Sarah McLeod. How many minutes, sorry, did you say?
You have 5 minutes. When you're
5
ready,
minutes.
you can start.
Perfect. And I can ask questions to the council, the applicant, and the staff?
No, that was for council. For members of the public, it's your opportunity to share feedback with us. So you provide your comments, and then council will take them under advisement.
So comments, feedback.
Opinion on the specific application.
Yes, exactly.
Please.
Yeah. I'm reading the referral report. Hopefully, I have enough information going off of that to give comments. I have no comments on the first part of it, site and context, pretty clear. Policy context, the Canby Corridor Plan and the Housing Vancouver Strategy is what was looked at for it. I've read the Canby Corridor Plan too. It's awesome. It's great. It's cool pictures, a lot of detail. I do have a comment about how, and further on in the RR word, I'm used to these terms, the referral report, there is another reference to the Canby plan on in Appendix D, page 1 of 2, public benefits. I'm just kind of curious, because I'm new, and so some questions might be naive, but it says it was based on a census that was done in 2011. I think that's what I understand. And the population in the area that all of this design is based off of, in 12 years has grown 5,000 people. In that census projection, it was projected to grow up to over 40,000 by 41. So what we're saying, unless we need new data, is that we do believe that it grew 5,000 in 12 years, and in the next, let me do the math, 2025 to 41, 16 years, it's going to grow 7 times more than what it grew in the past 12. This is the population growth. That's a comment about what we're basing these things on. I have no comment to the applicant about the changing, or like about the rezoning from the RM to the other RM that I don't know anything about, but the FSR under 1.2 is something that I walked by the place today. It's in my neighborhood, and I really like the neighborhood, and it's a place that I could be living in a few years. And I'm not going to comment on the designs that were submitted by staff, because I understand they're not this design submitted by you, the applicant. They're just like what can be built in that space. And one comment that's also in this report was about the natural assets. That's point 3 of some section. Sorry, I'm all over the place. It's cool to see that there's the 5 trees on site. I don't know also here, sorry again, all my ignorant questions, but the difference between bushes and trees out here. I don't know, are bushes and trees and shrubs, are they all considered trees? But I walked by the place today and I took some photos, and there's some great pieces. So hopefully, my last point, I guess, to round it all up would be that I know in this it says a lot of the details of the design will obviously be up for debate at the development permit stage, and that there'll be public input there. It's great that there is public input at the development permit stage, because I would love to just get my eyes on the actual designs and not the biggest and best thing that you can build on this spot, but the actual designs that will be done. The access, from what my experience, what I found, access to the development permit stage for public input is a little bit more less accessible than these public hearings. So I guess I just have a general question about how to get more information, maybe during these rezonings. And lastly, I'll just kind of attach that to the fact that these public hearings are being looked at in the next year because of a provincial thing, the ODP, to try to even limit the speaking time that we have here. 5 minutes here, 3 minutes if we get to the development permit meeting and we actually get to talk on that too. And all of these questions and concerns are just coming because I live in the neighborhood and I love the neighborhood and I love that area. And like, I'd love to see the designs of something that maybe doesn't stretch the absolute bursting of the rezoning abilities, but like works within them and does something really cool. And like me, I saw something like 11 townhouses. I'm like, what about 8 townhouses and a beautiful garden? You know, like,
Sarah.
I'm not here to give designs and I'm sure my time is up, but
It is.
these are my thoughts.
It is, but we appreciate your comments and thank you for taking the time to speak to council.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So this is my third and final call for speakers. And again, the number is 1-833-353-8610. The participant code is 1061445#. The number is available on X in the live stream. And if there's any additional speakers in the council chamber, this is the opportunity to come forward. And not seeing any, we will now take a 5-minute recess for any additional speakers to call in. And that will bring us back at 6:35 p.m. Thank you.
No additional speakers.
No additional speakers. Thank you. So we will now close the speakers list. And seeing there are few or no public comments received after 5 o'clock, I will now close the receipt of public comments. And does the applicant have any closing comments? Nope. Staff have any closing comments?
Comments.
Great, thank you. And council, any questions for staff? No, okay. Oh, we have one. My apologies, Councillor Klassen. Go ahead, please.
Thanks very much. I was just listening to the speaker just now, and I gleaned from her comments a genuine interest in trying in the well-being of her neighborhood, and the fact I know that these projects will come in without any sort of finalized designs and opportunities opportunities to engage are somewhat limited previously in terms of commenting on it. But I was just wondering, based upon her comments, if there were any takeaways from that way and ways that we can improve opportunities for people in the neighborhood just to be able to kind of convey. It sounds like she's not opposed to the project, but just wanted a little bit more information and the ability to engage.
Thank you for the question, Councillor. I think I'm going to defer that to my senior planner.
Thanks, Councillor Klassen. Just in terms of opportunities to engage, yes, we definitely heard the speaker. For the Canby townhouses, we did design this such that the opportunity to move projects faster meant that we didn't necessarily have a more robust Q&A period. Nonetheless, we have opportunities for people to engage both at the rezoning stage and at the development permit stage through visual materials for when they walk by the site sign, knowing that there's a rezoning project, online materials, and again, as the speaker commented, and as is in our report, opportunities for the development permit stage to solicit feedback from members of the community. It's always an ongoing challenge in terms of how much, how often, did we do enough, did we not do enough question. But yeah, definitely heard her concerns and her issues.
Thanks very much. I won't sort of speak at the end. I'll just sort of generally comment that I think I'm very pleased about this project being. I know the area quite well. Okay. I know that we've got the Providence development happening right next door, and we've got Heatherlands, of course, adjacency to Canada Line Station. And so I just feel like this is a really great and appropriate use of that place to build some new townhouses there. So looking forward to seeing this project evolve. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Klassen. We will have a chance for comments. But first I need a mover and a seconder for the recommendations. Moved by Councillor Dominato, seconded by Councillor Klassen. Any discussion or comments from council? Going once, going twice? Okay, I'll ask the clerk to take us to a vote. And a reminder that any council members participating virtually, you do need to have your video enabled for the vote. Okay, that passes unanimously with none in opposition. Thank you very much. Thanks to staff on that one. Okay, that brings us on to item 3 on the docket tonight, which is the rezoning for 2520-2544 West 16th Avenue and 3223 Larch Street. And before we begin this item, if any council member has a conflict of interest, now is the time to declare that. And seeing none, I will now ask the clerk to read the application and the summary of correspondence.
There's an application by Strand Holdings to rezone 2520 to 2544 West 16th Avenue to 3223 Larch Street, residential inclusive district to residential rental district, to permit the development of a 5-story residential rental building with a partial story for rooftop amenity space. A floor space ratio of 2.4 is proposed. The General Manager of Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability recommends approval, subject to conditions set on the summary and recommendation. The following correspondence has been received since we referred to public hearing. 23 pieces in support, 8 pieces in opposition, two pieces dealing with other aspects of the application. This represents all correspondence received up to 5 p.m. today.
Great, thank you very much. I'll now make my first call for speakers. The number to call is toll-free one at 1-833-353-8610. The participant code is 1061445#. Before close of the list, the phone number is available on X and the live stream, and there will be opportunity for new speakers to be added at the end of the registered list. We now have planning, urban design, and sustainability here to present the application. Please go ahead when you are ready.
Good evening, Acting Mayor and Council. My name is Jason Louis, and I'm the rezoning planner for this application, which is being considered under the secured rental policy. The subject site outlined in red is zoned R11 and comprises of 4 detached homes. This rezoning application originally came in as 3 lots, as shown in the solid red line box. However, the applicant decided to acquire and include an additional 4th lot, as shown in the dotted red line box to the west. There are 4 rental tenancies on site. However, the tenant protection policy does not apply. The site is surrounded by similar residential properties. Consistent with the intent of the SRP, the site shown in red is located near several parks and schools. Also nearby is a local shopping area located further west of the site. The site is also well served by the number 33 and the number 25 bus routes along West 16th Avenue. The enabling policy for the residential rental zones is the secured rental policy. The SRP encourages new purpose-built rental housing in Vancouver. The SRP aligns with the rental housing goals of the Housing Vancouver strategy and the complete neighborhood goals of the Vancouver plan. Updates to the SRP were approved by Council in 2021 to create residential rental zones and a map with eligible areas for the standardized RR zones. Rezonings to standard rental districts have a simplified rezoning process. Instead of creating customized site-specific CD1s, the RR district schedules establish clarity on permitted use, height, and density. The RR zones provide more certainty about what building forms may be permitted in low-density areas. The schedules are accompanied by comprehensive design guidelines, which were also approved by Council. In the streamlined process, architectural drawings are not required at rezoning. The specific building design will be reviewed through a future development permit process when the neighborhood is notified again for public input and comments. This map from the secured rental policy shows sites that are zoned R11 or RT, which are outside of recent community plan areas and are eligible for RR rezonings. The locations are based on close proximity to public transit and local shopping, as well as being on the first full block on either side of an eligible arterial road. The yellow star indicates the project site, located on West 16th Avenue, which is an arterial road and is near local shopping, as shown in red to the west. Shown in blue are the blocks around the site that are also eligible for rezoning to an RR zone. Under the secured rental policy, this site is located on an eligible arterial road and can rezone to the following district schedules as shown on this slide. The height and density are shown on this slide as well. Mixed use is not required for this site. Sites that are eligible for mixed use include sites that are with a corner lot or sites that are immediately adjacent to a site that is currently zoned for commercial. Out of all eligible options, the applicant has chosen to rezone to the RR2B district schedule for this project. The process for seeking public input on residential rental rezonings is the same as for CD1 rezonings. An open house was held in February 2024 and 40 pieces of correspondence were received. Support was given for the increase in overall rental housing in the city, while support and concern were expressed about the appropriateness of the location for this proposal. Concerns regarding increased traffic and loss of existing street parking were also expressed. The proposed use and form of development is consistent with the locational criteria of the SRP. This portion of West 16th Avenue is part of the frequent transit network, with the number 33 and number 25 buses running at frequent transit network levels. Engineering staff have reviewed the proposed development and included provisions for the installation of parking regulatory signage on streets adjacent to the site. Additionally, the proposal will need to meet the parking bylaw. The public benefits occurring from this application are secured market rental housing units. There is a DCL contribution of approximately $2.7 million. The applicant has chosen not to take the DCL waiver. The CAC policy for rezonings exempts routine lower density secured market rental rezoning applications. In conclusion, this proposal meets the intent of city policy by delivering a secured rental building. Staff support this application to rezone to the RR2B district schedule with a form of development reviewed through the development permit process. Staff and the applicant team are available to answer questions. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Do we have the applicant team, and would you like to present this evening? Great, thank you. Okay, please go ahead when you're ready.
Great. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Sebastian Stewart, Development Manager with Strand. I'm pleased to be here along with Cameron Thorne to speak with you briefly regarding our rezoning application for 2520 to 2544 West 16th Avenue and 3223 Large Street in the Arbutus Ridge neighborhood. We applaud Council for its efforts to create more secured rental housing under the secured rental policy. Strand as a company currently has 7 projects under the secured rental policy, either under construction or in the approval process. These 7 projects will deliver about 665 rental homes in total to the city. To date, we have also delivered 465 rental homes previous to that. This project aims to provide a diverse mix of unit sizes, similar to Strand's nearby Arbutus Terrace project, which is currently under construction 700 meters to the east on Arbutus and 16th. And council approval of this application will result in around 123 additional units of secured rental housing being provided. The rental housing being provided will be in the Arbutus Ridge Kitsilano neighborhood, close to public transit and local services and shopping. We seek your support tonight to enable us to deliver this much needed rental housing in this underserved neighborhood of our city. Thank you.
Terrific, thank you. Are there any questions from council to staff of the applicant team? And I will note for council, this is the only opportunity for councillors to ask questions of the applicant. And I see we have several, so I'll advance Councillor Dominato first. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. And yeah, my question is to the applicant. And I was just curious, more often than not, we see builders seeking the waiver. And I note in the presentation, you're not pursuing the waiver here. And I'm just curious as to why, and if you're able to speak to that.
Thank you for the question. We do, on a case-by-case basis, opt to pursue the waiver. In this particular scenario, we opted not to. But it is a case-by-case basis, and it's certainly a valuable option to have, so we appreciate it.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Thanks. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Councillor Dominato. Maybe I can note to staff, I think we have a door malfunction there for people to be able to get in the chambers. Councillor Klassen, go ahead, you have the floor.
Thanks very much, Chair. It's a question for staff, and I should know this, but this location has some real recognizable characteristics of our forthcoming villages work that we're doing right now. And I'm just kind of curious why this particular node with capers and medical offices and gas station and all sorts of shopping in the immediate area isn't sort of constituted in some form as one of our kind of proposed villages for any potential growth there. I was just curious about that, just from a kind of a policy standpoint, how we are applying that.
Yeah, Josh White, General Manager, Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability. I'll try and answer your question to the best of my knowledge based on not having the Vancouver plan in front of me, but the chosen places for villages was based principally on 2 criteria. And one was the amount of existing commercial space in the area being below a certain threshold, actually. Thresholds above that were typically put into the bucket of neighborhood center. alongside the other principal criterion, which is the level of service of transit associated with that location as well. But I can get back to you in terms of how this site fits in precisely with those criterion.
You may have answered my question, so that's
Okay.
that below the threshold is probably the
likely
determining factor. But yeah, just because this looks like a really suitable location given the history of that particular set of blocks and the amount of commercial space that's there right now.
But notwithstanding that, the secure rental policy, as highlighted, does support a similar type of density for that tenancy type.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
Thanks very much, Councillor Klassen. And seeing no other questions from council, I'll make my second call for speakers tonight. For item 3, the number is toll-free 1-833-353-8610. The participant code is 1061145#. Before close of the speakers list, the number is available on the socials. And we will now hear from the public. Any registered speakers in the council chamber can come forward when your name is called in public or join online. We have 3 registered speakers tonight. For this item, speakers will have 5 minutes to make your comments, and please focus them on the merits of the report that's under consideration. And our first speaker tonight is Johnny Yang, who is joining us by phone.
Good evening. I'm Johnny Yang. I'm from Vancouver. I actually live near the area. My comments are basically that the development of this is, my understanding of the development that this is presented is kind of out of character with the neighborhood. It's so massive. If I were to travel along West 16 from Arbutus going west to UBC, this building could very well be the tallest building in the whole stretch, you know, including a 5-story and a rooftop amenities and so forth. So it looks really, really massive. I support higher density, but I think a 3-story building might fit in a lot better in that to preserve the character of the neighborhood. And also with a massive development, obviously going to bring some increased traffic and parking shortages and so forth. So, in any event, I do support increased density, but not as massive as this development. Okay, thanks very much.
Great. Thank you very much for your comments and for taking the time to speak to council. Appreciate it. Our second speaker on this item is Lisa Cortez, who is here in person. So please go ahead when you are ready and you have 5 minutes.
Good evening, councillors, fellow citizens and friends. My name is Lisa Courts. I live in Vancouver, directly across from the proposed development at 2520, 2544 West 16th Avenue and 3223 Larch Street. I am opposed to this development and urge council to keep the current R1-1 zoning in place. I became a Vancouverite in 2001, having fallen in love and marrying Calvin, who lived in Aldergrove at the time. Prior to moving to Vancouver, I'd secured a job at UBC Hospital, and because it was shift work, I wanted to live within a reasonable commuting time. We were fortunate to find a garden-level suite in a triplex, a converted brewery house. It was a 2-bedroom apartment, a nice space, great landlords, and allowed me to bring my dog from Ontario. Rent was $1,300 a month, which was $400 more than our combined rents. This is a great area with parks and schools easily accessible, as well as the community center and shopping. We wanted to stay in the neighborhood and to start a family, and were delighted when we found our current address along West 16th Avenue. This 1942 bungalow had 2 separate basement suites when we bought it, making it a possibility to own in our own neighborhood. We had 1 child who attended nearby Carnarvon Community School and Kitsilano Secondary. Over the years, we have rented to students, painters, construction workers, couples, and singles. As we are getting older and our health is declining, we wanted to renovate our home to age in place. This meant renting a home close by at West 14th and Vine, which we did for over 1.5 years. It meant losing our tenants. However, the couple had married the prior year and were building a home in Maple Ridge to be closer to family. Our other tenant is now back with us following the renovation. My point to this story is that there are many people in this area that have been able to rent either a suite, half a home, or an entire home. These rental options are already available. Many people wish to own a home here and have been able to do so with the help of additional rental income by way of a secondary suite and/or a laneway home. We have never Airbnb'd our suite, and we have never left our rental suite unoccupied. Our rented one-bedroom suite costs way less than the proposed one-bedroom suite in the proposed 5-story building. In making your decision, I ask you to keep the dream alive for those wanting to own a home with rental income in this area and maintaining the quality of life for those already living here. I implore you to keep the R1-1 zoning for this parcel of land and commit to developing rental units by either having single-family homes with rental units or multiplexes with owner rental options. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much for your comments and taking time tonight. We appreciate it. Our third and final registered speaker is Wabin Yu, who's here in person. Fantastic.
Good evening. My name is Huabin Yu, and I'm the owner of 2556 16th Avenue West. And because this project is affecting my property value so much that we are very concerned about this project. So is that possible that the story of the building should be lower? In that case, it will have a less impact on the property value of my house. And on the other hand, I would like to know, is that possible for us to get some sort of compensation in order for us to move somewhere else with the similar property? That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Council will follow up and ask questions if they wish to, but I know they're all listening and taking those in. So I'm going to check with the clerk and see if we have any more speakers on the line at this point.
We're just going to check, but it might be better after the 5-minute break.
Okay, I'll take the opportunity to make my third call then. The number is 18310. The participant code is 1061445 #. Before we close the list, the phone number is available on the socials. Any speakers can come forward or join. We'll take a 5-minute recess to provide that opportunity, and we will reconvene at 7:03. Thanks, everybody. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you. So seeing that we have no additional speakers on the line, the speakers list is now closed, and seeing there are no public comments received after 5 o'clock, I'm also closing receipt of public comments. And does the applicant have any closing comments? No. Staff, any closing comments tonight?
Yeah, just to confirm, this project is within the McDonald and 16th Village area, which is part of the Villages Planning Program of the Vancouver Plan. Just for clarification.
Wonderful. Thank you. Council, any final questions for staff? Okay, I'm not seeing any. And staff, any additional public comments since we closed them?
No.
Okay, we will now move on to make a decision on the application. Looking for mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Dominato, seconded by Councillor Klassen. Any discussion, Council? Going once, going twice? Okay, we'll now call the vote. Okay, and that passes unanimously with none in opposition. Thank you to everybody for the work on that one. That concludes item 3 on our agenda and moves us on to the 4th and final item on the docket, which is the rezoning for 5889-5925 Dunbar Street. And before we begin this item, while we're changing out our staff team, if any council members have a conflict of interest, now would be the time to declare it. And I am not seeing any. So we'll now ask the clerk to read the application and the summary of correspondence, please.
There's an application by Steve Payne Architect to rezone 5889 to 5925 Dunbar Street from residential inclusive district to residential rental district to permit the development of a 5-story residential rental building with a partial story or rooftop amenity space. A floor space ratio of 2.2 is proposed. The General Manager of Planning, Urban Design and Sustainability recommends approval subject to conditions set on the summary and recommendation. The following correspondence has been received since referred to the public hearing. 1 piece is opposition and 1 piece dealing with other aspects of the application. This represents all correspondence received up to 5 p.m. today.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm going to now make my first call for speakers. Anybody, we don't have any registered speakers, but anybody who would like to call in, the number is 1-833-353-8610. The participant code is 1061445#. Before close of the list, the phone number is also available on X in the live stream. Any new speakers can be added to the end of the speakers list, or actually, you're just on Dex. We don't have any registered speakers. And we now have staff from Planning, Urban Design, and Sustainability here to present the application. So council has the option to waive the presentation unless any member would find it helpful to see it. Okay, not seeing any motions to waive it, so we will hear the presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, Acting Mayor, Council, and members of the public. My name is Belinda Liu, and I am the rezoning planner for this application under the secured rental policy. The secured rental policy, or SRP, encourages new purpose-built rental housing and aligns with the rental housing goals of the Housing Vancouver strategy and the Vancouver Plan. The application falls within Dunbar Bus Exchange, which is a transit-oriented area that permits up to 12 stories and 4.0 FSR. The applicant is aware of this option and has chosen to continue under the SRP. Rezonings to rental district schedules follow a simplified rezoning process that establishes clarity on permitted height, use, and density. The schedules include design guidelines, and the specific building design will be reviewed during a future development permit process. This map shows sites that are eligible for rezoning. The sites are close to public transit and local shopping and are located on eligible on and off arterial roads. The yellow star indicates the proposed rezoning site near the intersection of Dunbar Street and 43rd Avenue. The eligible RR zones are shown here. This application is for an RR2B zone. The site outlined in red is comprised of 2 parcels and developed with 2 single detached houses. The site and surrounding areas are zoned R11, RR2B, and CD1. The property contains 2 rental tenancies for which the tenants are not eligible under the city's tenant protections. Consistent with the SRP, the site in red is located near several parks and schools. A local shopping area and the Dunbar Bus Exchange is located within 2 blocks away. The applicant is proposing an RR2B zone, which allows for a 5-story rental apartment building with a density of up to 2.2 FSR. The Housing Vancouver strategy seeks to deliver a range of tenures and affordabilities across the housing continuum. Renting has a lower monthly cost compared to home ownership. A total of 17 submissions were received during public consultation. Support was given for the increase in overall rental housing and for the heightened density given the proximity to transit and the grocery store. Concerns were expressed regarding heightened density, maintaining privacy of adjacent houses, and the pressure of new residents on infrastructure and amenities. In response, staff note that the proposed height and density is consistent with the SRP and the RR2B zone. Measures in the design guidelines and the RR2B district schedule, such as minimum building separation and yard setback requirements, will help address privacy concerns. Further, staff will review the form of development at the development permit stage to reduce impacts to neighboring properties where possible. Regarding concerns about the impact on infrastructure, the project is to provide street improvements along the lane. Regarding concerns about pressure on local utilities, the existing water main and sewer capacity can accommodate the new residents. The public benefits are the DCL contribution of $1.7 million and the addition of market rental housing. In conclusion, this proposal meets the intent of city policy by delivering a market rental building. Staff support this application for a rezoning to the RR2B zone. Staff and the applicant team are available to answer questions. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Would the applicant team like to present the application if they're here tonight? Just checking with staff. I don't think we have an applicant team, do we?
No, we don't present at this moment.
Okay, I just want to ensure, since they do have the opportunity to present, to make sure they're given that opportunity. Okay, I will now make my second call for speakers. The number to call in is 1-833-353-8610. The participant code is 1061445#, before close of the speakers list. And we will now hear from the public and from any individuals that wish to speak. We don't have any registered speakers tonight, but people can come forward if they choose. Again, you have 5 minutes to provide comments to council. And clerks, do we have anybody on the line? We do not. Okay, I will therefore make my third and final call for speakers, repeating the number 1-833-353-8610. The participant code is 1061445#, before close of the list, and giving people the opportunity to come forward. So we will take a 5-minute recess for that opportunity, and council will reconvene at 7:18. Thank you. to reconvene and turn your video cameras back on, that would be great. There we go. I see screens lighting up. Awesome. Okay, Clerk, did we get any additional speakers calling in?
None.
Okay, seeing none. I'm now closing the speakers list and seeing no public comments have been received after 5 o'clock. I'm also closing receipt of public comments. And does the
I'm so sorry.
so close?
So close. There is a person out in the hallway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sorry. Did you wish to speak on this item?
Yeah, real quick, I didn't
Okay,
read
if I
it
can-
and I want to
just
keep
before
it.
you
Yeah.
before you start, if I can just ask you to say your name and then just let you know you have 5 minutes, and then please go ahead.
My name's Sarah McLeod. I won't take your 5 minutes because I didn't do research on this, but I did, in the wording of the presentation, it was again just stated, so I wanted to say that more of the details will come in the development permit application stage. Just food for thought, and I will leave you for everyone's benefit, because the more information you have, the more educated a decision plans can be. But here at the public hearing, we get up to 5 minutes to speak. At the development permit stage, there's 3 minutes to speak. Also, just my personal experience from today, I registered to speak today. I got a notification from the clerk's office. I got a reminder, like, oh, make sure to be here today. You're ready to speak today. I emailed the development permit board twice over the past month. I've yet to get a response. So just a note to staff, or if you really truly do want the public's opinion, maybe you don't, but like it's all helpful. Take it, don't take it. It's great to hear. Leaving all the details till the development permit stage and expecting people to have time and to know how to show up and do all that, you're gonna be missing huge chunks of blind spots. Really? Only 28 seconds? Well, I'm happy. Okay.
Great, thank you. So that is our final speakers. I am going to reaffirm that I've closed the speakers list and reaffirm that I've closed public comments. And at this point, we did not have an applicant team present earlier, and I assume we don't now. I just want to double check that also with the staff. Is that correct?
The applicant team is online.
They are online. Okay, does the applicant team have any closing comments you would like to make?
Thank you very much. We don't have any comments. Yeah, we will do our best to cooperate with DP process. Yeah, during the DP process.
Okay, that's all. Thank you very much. Council, do you have any questions for staff? Councillor Klassen, please go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick one, and I don't think we have anybody from our engineering team here, but I was just reading one of the notes from comments that came in, an email message, just regards to the back alley of this particular site. So that would be west of Dunbar Street, which is quite a heavy slope, is not paved. I did not realize that it was not paved. And I only bring this up because I know once you start seeing a lot of construction vehicles and other activity, and especially if there is, and I'm not sure if the parking access for this building will be from the back, it is just that would probably have some wear and tear in the neighborhood. So I'm just, I don't think I'm going to get an answer for it, but I just wanted to flag that in case the engineering team was looking at this as a potential place for paving the lane.
Thank you for the comment. As a part of the conditions in Appendix B, the applicant is required to upgrade the laneway adjacent to the site.
Mm-hmm. So that'll just be part of the laneway, that wouldn't be the entire one, so.
That's right, not the whole lane, but as more developments come up, if they come up along the site, then they'll be part of the conditions to upgrade the laneway.
I see, okay. All right, thanks, just wanted to flag that.
Great. Thank you very much, Councillor Klassen. And asking the clerk, did we receive any additional public comments since they were closed?
None.
None? Okay, Council, we can now make our decision on the application. We have a mover and a seconder?
Second.
Moved by Councillor Dominato, seconded by Councillor Klassen. Any discussion from Council? Okay, seeing none, we'll ask the clerk to take us to a vote. Okay, that passes unanimously with none in opposition. And that concludes the business for our first public hearing of 2025. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Move to adjourn, Councillor Clausen. Seconded by Councillor Dominato. I'm seeing none opposed. Any in opposition? No? Okay, thanks very much, everybody. That is it. That's a wrap.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good night.